They're not worthless. I'm telling you, this is a gold mine. The bubble hasn't burst on the overly empathetic solar-powered Danger Noodles. The bubble's just deflated a bit, but it's expanding and it's coming back in a really big way. It's literally written in the stars. I can show you the metrics. Hello?
Hello. My name is Cole Hornaday, and welcome back to The Panel Jumper. As the curtain came down on the existential turmoil of the 1970s, the scene beyond swiftly shifted, and the lights came up on Ronald Reagan's brightly shining city on the hill. The 80s promised us a future so bright we wore our Ray-Bans at night in anticipation of being nuked by the Soviets in our sleep. It was a time of big hair, day glow, MTV, and toy commercials masquerading as children's programming. The medium had become the message, and the message was consume or die. Good thing Americans entered the decade with an appetite. Meet Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, two art school grads with four-color comic book dreams of their own. One night, Laird doodled a bipedal turtle with a pair of nunchucks strapped to his forearm and showed it to Eastman. Ninja Turtle. Together, the pair brainstormed a quartet of terrapins and named them after legendary artists of the Renaissance: Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were born. They quickly sketched out a one-shot comic lampooning popular teen superhero titles of the day, like the Uncanny X-Men, the New Teen Titans, and the New Mutants, and would pay tribute to industry giants like Jack Kirby, Will Eisner, and Frank Miller. Better yet, they came up with a genesis for their quartet that would satirically dovetail with the origin of Marvel's blind protector of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil. You'll recall the young Matt Murdock was blinded by radioactive material, endowing him with an entire boatload of extrasensory powers. What you may not have realized was that on the other side of the street stood a little boy cradling a goldfish bowl full of 4 pet turtles. The fateful radioactive canister smashed into said bowl, dropping them down through a sewer grate into the subterranean wonderland below New York City. Thanks to being doused in the radioactive ooze, the tiny turtles grew into angst-ridden teens. From then on, Eastman and Laird lovingly stacked up the parallels, particularly to the stories of Frank Miller. The Turtles' anthropomorphic rat sensei Master Splinter was taken from Murdock's own mentor, Stick. The Hand, the evil mystic ninja clan of Daredevil, became the Foot Clan in the world of the Ninja Turtles. Eastman and Laird knew they had something special on their hands and decided to take a risk on self-publishing. Calling themselves Mirage Studios, Eastman borrowed $1,300 from his uncle Quentin, and together he and Laird printed a paltry 3,000 copies on cheap black and white newsprint in an oversized magazine format. It sold out in less than 3 months. They went back to the printer again and again, plotted new stories, negotiated distribution deals, and before long, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles became an unprecedented independent comic success.
One price for the whole lot. I gotta move him now. Well, I don't want to see him go, but the boss says we need the floor space back. Yeah, action figures, comic books, VHS tapes. Hello? God!
In the meantime, a speculator's bubble began to expand around the Turtles, and a legion of copycats flooded the market with uninspired and insufferably twee titles like Geriatric Gangrene Jiu-Jitsu Gerbils, Preteen Dirty Jean Kung Fu Kangaroos, Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters, Mildly Microwaved Prepubescent Gophers, Adolescent Maniacal Samurai Hares, Naive Interdimensional Commando Koalas, Overly Empathetic Solar-Powered Danger Noodles. We may have made that last one up, but you get the point. Retailers began ordering these imitators in bulk, but the sad truth of the matter was not one of these books had half the charm of the Turtles and didn't sell for beans. And unlike product from the major publishers, these independent titles were not returnable, which left retailers holding the bag. A burden that did them great financial damage, but also cast a shadow over the handful of genuine artists struggling to self-publish their own comics in a climate that had turned suddenly hostile.
There's more? Odin's beard!
It wasn't long before Mirage Studios' new agent, Mark Friedman, got Playmates Toys interested in producing a line of turtle action figures. But Playmates needed some convincing the line would be viable and wanted to see a family-friendly cartoon first. A bit backward from the cartoonist advertisement for established toy line model that had populated Saturday morning airwaves up to that time. It fell to Transformers cartoon head writer David Weiss to bring the Turtles to television. To sell them as an animated series, and subsequently the toys, Weiss was not only tasked with making the Turtles palatable to a mainstream audience, he had to tone them down, way down. Firstly, he gave them color-coded headbands and monogram belt buckles, individuality missing from the original black and white comics. He then radically de-emphasized their capacity for murder and mayhem, instead making them a pack of pizza connoisseurs with "Cowabunga, dudes!" as their rallying cry. But Weiss's wisest move was to apply a little pop culture alchemy known as the Rule of Four. We see it all the time. A quartet of sturdy archetypes capable of not only supporting one another with readily recognizable personalities, but in the Turtles' case, gave them perfect licensing portability, with personas capable of leaping from one medium to the next. Comics to cartoons, video games to movies, holiday specials to sold-out arena concerts. That was really a thing. Do not try to pretend it didn't happen. Leonardo, the honor-bound and loyal leader. Donatello, the pragmatic nerd and problem solver. Michelangelo, the reckless trickster and class clown. And Raphael, the impulsive and hot-headed soldier. We know this model well. The Fantastic Four, the Fab Four, the Prefab Four, the Three Musketeers, though there were 4 of them. And these fine folks. You should really listen to the podcast. By the time issue number 13 of TMNT was headed for the newsstand, it was now in color. The animated series was fast becoming a worldwide phenomenon, and the action figures were bouncing off the shelves. The Turtle juggernaut was building up a full head of steam, and over at Mirage Studios, they were practically printing money. When the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live-action film was released by New Line Cinemas in 1990, it tapped from and capitalized on much of the humor and character traits elaborated on in the cartoon, but put a great deal of energy into honoring the independent source material that inspired the whole kit and caboodle. It was one of the first comic book adaptations of its kind, and for decades to come would remain one of the most genuine. Since their inception as a one-off parody, there have been many, many hands on the Turtles. They've been polished and refined through the collective input of marketers and designers, scriptwriters, and Madison Avenue men, all in a loose affiliation with Mirage Studios. And though Eastman and Laird have since divested controlling interest, together they inspired a joint creative process wherein the Turtles' archetypal patterns were not only finely tuned, but codified. Whenever you see a Ninja Turtle, you know it's a Ninja Turtle, be it a fully posable action figure or an escapee from the uncanny valley. Now granted, the charge of the Turtle juggernaut will slow down from time to time, but only temporarily, until another focus group reviews the market shares, polishes up their talking points, and tweaks the Turtles' outward details just enough to pitch another animated series, action figure line, or Michael Bay epic.
One price, entire lot. Will increase in value, guaranteed. No, the bubble hasn't burst, it's just deflated some. You won't regret it. What? You will? The entire thing? But who did you say you were? You hold the Guinness record for the largest Danger Noodle collection? Well, yes, PayPal will be perfect. What's the delivery address?
There's a strange and wonderful synergy to the Ninja Turtles story. When they first arrived in comic shops as a crudely produced DIY underground-style comic, they immediately sparked an unprecedented fervor in the comic book community that ultimately spilled over into the global marketplace. The Turtles were destined to be as ubiquitous as Coca-Cola, while inspiring kids the world over to engage in creative play, telling stories with their action figures and their turtle bands in backyards and playgrounds across the countryside. And now, nearly a generation after their arrival, they still ignite the imaginations of young and old alike. Not too shabby for a bunch of teenagers in their 30s.
Mighty Megaton Millennial Magpies. 25 hologram cover variants. Guaranteed to increase 300% within the next 90 days. I can't afford not to stock this.
We'll see you next time on The Panel Jumper.